Welcome to our channel, Rare Jefferson Nickels take center stage, showing just how extraordinary coins can be. Stick around, and by the end of this video, you'll see examples that have sold for staggering sums. You won't believe how much value can hide in these seemingly ordinary coins. Before you skip past this coin, before you let it slide back into your pocket or disappear into loose change, stop for just a second. Because the very first coin we're looking at today is one that almost everyone has seen, almost everyone has spent, and almost everyone has ignored. And that's exactly what makes it dangerous to overlook. This is the 2016 5-cent nickel, and it might be hiding more than you think. At first glance, it doesn't look special at all. It's not silver. It's not ancient. It doesn't shine differently or announce itself in any obvious way. It looks like a normal nickel, the kind you've handled thousands of times without even remembering it. But in coin collecting, the most underestimated coins are often the ones that deserve the closest inspection. Especially modern coins, where condition and mint errors can quietly separate an ordinary piece from something truly collectible. This coin was struck in 2016 at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the small P mint mark on the obverse. That single letter is easy to miss, but it tells an important story. Philadelphia is the oldest operating mint in the United States, and even today it produces an enormous volume of coins every year. With that kind of production speed, perfection isn't guaranteed, and that's where things get interesting for collectors. The obverse features Thomas Jefferson, facing forward, with a calm, steady expression. This portrait is based on an original bust made during Jefferson's lifetime, giving the design a direct connection to American history. His hair is neatly tied back, and the details of his face can vary noticeably from coin to coin depending on the quality of the strike. The word Liberty appears clearly beside him, followed by the date 2016, with the P mint mark sitting just beneath it. Small details like spacing, sharpness, and alignment are worth paying attention to. Flip the coin over and you'll see Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. The building is instantly recognizable, framed by the inscriptions Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America, with E pluribus unum completing the design. This reverse has been used for decades, and because collectors know it so well, even small differences stand out. Weak strikes, missing details, or unusual textures become much easier to spot once you know what a normal example should look like. The coin itself is made from a copper and nickel alloy, designed to withstand heavy circulation. These coins were never meant to be delicate. They were meant to be used, stacked, dropped, counted, and passed from hand to hand. Because of that, most 2016 nickels show wear fairly quickly. Contact marks, dull surfaces, and softened details are extremely common. That's exactly why condition matters so much. A well-preserved example immediately feels different. The surfaces appear smoother. The edges look sharper. The design details stand out with more clarity. Jefferson's hair shows separation instead of blending together. On the reverse, the steps leading up to Monticello are especially important. Weak strikes often flatten these steps, while stronger strikes leave them crisp and defined. That difference alone can make one coin stand apart from dozens of others. Then there are mint errors, the unexpected details that turn a routine coin into something worth serious attention. Even with modern equipment, the minting process isn't flawless. Dies can crack or wear down. Planchets can be misfed or damaged. A coin might be struck slightly off-center, leaving part of the design closer to the edge. Some show doubled lettering or numbers caused by misaligned dies. Others display raised lines, chips, or unusual metal flow that simply doesn't belong on a standard strike. Many of these errors are subtle. They don't scream for attention. You might only notice them when light hits the coin at the right angle, or when you compare it to another nickel from the same year. That's why magnification is so useful, and why patience plays such a big role in coin collecting. Surface quality is another detail worth slowing down for. Some 2016 nickels have bright, original luster that reflects light evenly across the surface. Others appear dull, grainy, or uneven due to wear or poor strikes. Coins that were set aside early, before circulation could take its toll, often look dramatically different, even though they share the same date and mint mark as millions of others. What makes this coin especially fascinating is how easily it slips under the radar. Because it's modern and so familiar, people rarely give it a second look. That lack of attention is exactly why interesting examples continue to be found in everyday places, in pocket change, coin rolls, jars, and cash drawers. This nickel is a reminder that collecting isn't always about rarity on paper. It's about observation. It's about training your eye. It's about knowing when something feels just a little different from the rest. Modern coins like this one reward collectors who take their time and look closely. So as we begin today's video, let this coin set the mindset. Don't rush. Don't assume. Before you spend a 2016 5-cent nickel, turn it over in your hand. Check the details. Look for errors. Examine the condition. Because once it leaves your possession, that opportunity is gone, and sometimes, the most interesting coins are the ones hiding quietly in plain sight. Up next, we're stepping into one of the most unexpected stories in modern coin collecting. This is the kind of coin that completely changes how people look at pocket change. It isn't old, it isn't rare at first glance, and it doesn't look different from the rest, yet under the right circumstances, it became one of the most talked about modern nickels ever. This is the 2007 D nickel. The D mint mark places this coin at the Denver Mint, where efficiency and volume define daily operations. In 2007, nickels were being struck at a pace meant to keep commerce moving, not to create collectibles. Coins rolled off the presses, were counted, bagged, and shipped with speed as the priority. That environment produces usable money, but it rarely produces perfection. And perfection is exactly where this story begins. The design itself leaves very little margin for error. On the obverse, Jefferson's portrait demands clarity. Every strand of hair, every contour of the face, and every line in the design can either elevate the coin or hold it back. Many 2007 D nickels show softness in key areas, especially where the metal failed to fully fill the dies during the strike. Even a slight weakness can be enough to disqualify a coin from elite status. Collectors who examine this issue focus intensely on how the coin was struck. Strong strikes show depth and separation, while weaker ones appear flat or lifeless. Under magnification, the difference becomes obvious. A truly exceptional strike looks alive, sharp, balanced, and intentional, while most examples simply look average. Some coins may appear impressive at first glance, but only sustained inspection reveals whether the strike truly meets elite standards. Lighting angle alone can change how flaws appear, which is why professionals rotate the coin carefully during examination. Even minor softness in protected areas can signal deeper strike issues. That level of scrutiny separates ordinary uncirculated coins from the very finest known examples. The reverse side is even less forgiving. Monticello's steps are the ultimate test, and this is where most 2007 D nickels fall short. Interruptions, fading, or incomplete step lines are extremely common, even on coins that were never circulated. That's because strike pressure, die wear, and alignment all have to be nearly perfect at the exact moment the coin is struck. If even one of those factors is slightly off, the steps lose definition instantly. Once that detail is gone, it can never be restored. Only a tiny fraction of coins meet that standard. Surface preservation plays an equally critical role. Contact marks from other coins, even those acquired seconds after striking, can permanently limit a coin's grade. Fine hairline scratches, tiny nicks, or faint scuffs in the fields may be invisible to the naked eye but stand out immediately under professional examination. That's why so many coins that look flawless at first glance fail to reach the highest levels. The cleaner the fields, the rarer the coin becomes at the top end. Perfection requires not just a great strike, but total survival afterward. What makes the 2007 D nickel especially fascinating is how narrow the window of opportunity was. The finest examples likely came from early die states, before wear and fatigue softened the details. They also had to avoid damage during counting, bagging, transport, and storage, a series of obstacles that most coins never survive unscathed. Each step in that process reduced the number of surviving elite examples even further. This creates a level of rarity that doesn't show up in mintage numbers. On paper, the coin is common. In reality, truly top-tier examples are nearly non-existent. That disconnect is what makes this issue so powerful in the modern collecting world. And when one of these near-perfect coins does appear, it becomes a focal point. Registry-set collectors compete intensely for top-ranked examples. Every detail is scrutinized. Every surface is examined. There is no room for compromise, because another example of equal quality may not surface for years, or at all. This coin also serves as a wake-up call. It shows that modern coins can be just as unforgiving as classic issues when grading standards are strict. It proves that perfection, even in recent decades, is rare. And it reinforces the idea that rarity isn't just about age, it's about survival in the highest possible condition. Then comes the moment that redefines everything. One of the finest known examples of the 2007 D-nickel, a coin that met every one of these impossible standards, stunned the collecting world when it sold for $29,000. A modern nickel. Pulled from the same production year as millions of others. Worth more because it escaped damage, retained its sharpness, and achieved a level of quality almost no other example could match. So as you move on from this coin, remember the lesson it leaves behind. Don't judge modern coins by their date. Don't assume perfection is common. And never underestimate what careful inspection, patience, and attention to detail can reveal, because sometimes, the most extraordinary coins are hiding in the most ordinary places. Now let's move on to a coin that tells its story through resistance rather than recognition. This is a nickel that never tried to stand out, never demanded attention, and for decades quietly blended in with countless others. Yet behind that unassuming appearance lies one of the most demanding modern issues collectors have ever faced. This is the 1984 D-nickel. The D mint mark identifies Denver as its place of origin, a mint operating under heavy production pressure during the mid-1980s. In 1984, efficiency guided every decision. The goal was consistency and output, not the creation of display-quality coins. Nickels were struck quickly, moved rapidly, and distributed without hesitation. That pace shaped the character of this issue in a way that would only become apparent years later. The obverse portrait of Jefferson is where many of the challenges begin. This design relies on fine relief rather than bold depth, which makes it extremely sensitive to strike strength. On the majority of 1984 D-nickels, Jefferson's hair appears flat and merged, with individual strands difficult to distinguish. The facial features often lack definition, giving the portrait a muted appearance even when the coin shows no signs of wear. Collectors who specialize in this issue know that sharpness is rare. When a strong example appears, the difference is immediate. The portrait shows separation, depth, and clarity that feels almost unnatural compared to typical examples. These coins don't just look better, they look out of place, as if they belong to a different year entirely. The reverse intensifies the difficulty. Monticello's architectural details demand precise metal flow, and that precision was frequently absent. The steps, in particular, are the defining feature. On most 1984 D-nickels, they appear weak, interrupted, or blended together. Fully defined steps are so uncommon that they instantly draw attention from experienced collectors. This weakness isn't isolated. It reflects the broader production conditions of the time. Dies wore down quickly, pressure varied, and the margin for error was narrow. When those factors combined, the result was a coin that rarely achieved full definition on both sides at once. Even a coin struck just slightly off-center or at a moment of reduced pressure could lose all the fine detail that collectors prize. Surface preservation adds another layer to the challenge. Coins from this issue commonly show marks from contact with other coins during handling and storage. Even slight abrasions can interrupt the fields, and when paired with strike weakness, they become impossible to ignore. To survive with clean surfaces required extraordinary luck and timing. The finest examples are not just well struck, they are almost miraculous survivors. What makes the 1984 D nickel so remarkable is how many obstacles it had to overcome just to exist in top condition. It had to be struck early enough to benefit from fresher dies. It had to receive sufficient pressure to bring out the details. It had to avoid damage immediately after striking. And it had to remain protected long enough for collectors to recognize its difficulty. Every flaw avoided, every step preserved, represents a narrow escape from imperfection. As grading standards evolved and scrutiny increased, this coin gained a reputation that few modern issues share. It became known as a date where excellence is not simply uncommon, it is exceptionally elusive. Coins that appear impressive at a casual level often fail under closer examination, leaving only a handful that truly qualify as extraordinary. That reputation reshaped how collectors viewed the issue. It was no longer just another Denver nickel from the 1980s. It became a benchmark for difficulty, a test of patience, and a reminder that not all modern coins are created equal. Those who chase perfection know that for this nickel, every detail counts. Every line of hair, every Monticello step, every untouched field is a story of survival. For those who understand it, the 1984 D nickel represents something deeper than rarity. It represents survival against routine, speed, and indifference. Every top-tier example tells a story of timing and preservation that borders on improbable. Each flawless coin is a quiet triumph, a whisper of perfection in a year dominated by compromise. Collectors speak of it with reverence. Dealers watch for it with anticipation. When a truly exceptional example emerges, it doesn't just change hands, it changes expectations. Suddenly, a coin that many considered ordinary becomes legendary. And then comes the moment that defines everything. One remarkable 1984 D nickel, distinguished by outstanding sharpness, exceptional detail, and remarkable surface quality, reached a level almost no other example could approach, and that single coin achieved an astonishing $68,000. A coin overlooked by most. A year dismissed by many. Yet when all the conditions aligned, it delivered one of the most surprising results in modern coin collecting. It serves as a reminder, sometimes the quietest survivors leave the loudest legacy. It is more than a coin, it is a testament to patience, precision, and the rare magic of survival. In a world of mass production, it proves that perfection, even when unnoticed, will ultimately be recognized and rewarded. The next coin on our journey is one that has quietly earned legendary status among modern nickel collectors. This is the 1972 D nickel, a coin that, like its 1984 cousin, tells its story not by loud rarity, but by the quiet persistence of excellence surviving against the odds. At first glance, it might seem ordinary. A familiar Jefferson portrait, Monticello on the reverse, a simple D mint mark from Denver. To the casual observer, it is just another nickel, one of millions produced that year. But for those who study, collect, and revere modern coins, this issue is anything but ordinary. The year 1972 was a busy one at the Denver Mint. Production numbers were high, efficiency was prized over artistry, and speed ruled the day. Dies were worked hard, presses ran fast, and coins moved quickly into circulation. The goal was quantity, not perfection. And yet, amidst the torrent of mass-produced nickels, a handful of coins emerged that could defy the ordinary, and the 1972 D nickel stands among the most demanding examples. The obverse portrait of Jefferson presents the first challenge. Unlike some bolder designs, this portrait relies on delicate, fine lines. Jefferson's hair, in particular, is soft, flowing, and easily flattened. On the majority of 1972 D nickels, these lines merge together, blurring into a flat surface that offers little of the original relief. Even the facial features can appear subdued, lacking the crisp separation that defines a truly superior example. Only coins struck with optimal pressure and perfectly flowing metal reveal the portrait as the designers intended. The reverse is no less demanding. Monticello's steps, columns, and rooflines are extremely sensitive to strike strength. Most 1972D nickels exhibit weak, flattened steps, blurred lines, or interrupted details, a product of the fast-paced minting environment. Achieving sharpness across both sides of the coin is rare, a challenge compounded by the fact that even a minor misalignment or die wear could reduce the coin's potential to brilliance. Surface preservation adds another layer of difficulty. These coins were struck in large quantities and entered circulation almost immediately. Contact marks, abrasions, and environmental damage are common. A coin could be perfectly struck but still fail to impress due to a single scratch, a small ding, or even a microscopic imperfection. To survive decades with both sharpness and pristine surfaces is an achievement bordering on miraculous. What makes the 1972D nickel so exceptional is the convergence of timing, strike, and survival. It had to be struck early enough in the die's life to capture full detail. It had to be produced with enough pressure to bring Jefferson's portrait and Monticello's architecture into crisp relief. And it had to avoid wear, damage, or mishandling over the following decades. Every element had to align perfectly, a rare occurrence in modern coinage. Collectors who chase these coins know that the difference between a good 1972D and a truly elite example is enormous. It is not simply a matter of eye appeal. It is a matter of technical perfection, historical circumstance, and preservation against overwhelming odds. A coin that meets all these criteria instantly commands attention, respect, and admiration in the numismatic community. Grading adds another layer to this story. In today's market, coins are evaluated with an exacting eye. Even the slightest imperfection can lower a grade significantly. Top-tier 1972D nickels must survive scrutiny under magnification, revealing no distracting marks, no softness in the strike, and no compromise in the fields. Few coins meet these requirements, making true perfection a rare commodity. And then comes the moment collectors dream of, the appearance of a coin that transcends all expectations. A 1972D nickel that demonstrates razor-sharp detail on both sides, flawless surfaces, and a level of preservation few thought possible. A coin that survived mass production, circulation, and decades of potential mishandling to emerge virtually perfect. This extraordinary 1972D nickel is not just a coin, it is a statement. It tells the story of survival, timing, and chance. It embodies the rarest qualities of modern coinage, exceptional strike, impeccable preservation, and the kind of perfection that defies the odds. When such a coin finally reached the market, collectors and dealers alike were stunned. The value it commanded reflected not just rarity, but the culmination of decades of numismatic knowledge and admiration. Its price was staggering, almost unimaginable for a modern nickel, $77,000. A coin once dismissed as ordinary had, against all expectations, proven itself extraordinary. The 1972D nickel stands as a testament to the fact that perfection, even in the most common of years, can still emerge, quietly, subtly, and with a value that speaks louder than any coin could demand. In the world of modern coin collecting, this is the ultimate lesson: the quietest survivors can leave the most astonishing legacies. And the 1972D nickel is living proof that sometimes, greatness hides in plain sight, waiting for those patient enough to recognize it. If you enjoyed discovering the incredible stories behind these modern nickels, don't forget to subscribe and join our growing community of collectors and coin enthusiasts. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on rare finds, market insights, and hidden treasures in the world of coins. Thank you for watching, for appreciating the artistry, history, and extraordinary stories behind every coin, and for being part of this journey with us.